Hello, Stephan here with Liquidity with a video on the German modal particles mal and schon. Liquidity. In the German language, you will find a lot of short words that are somewhat difficult to translate and that also resist grammatical classifications. We call these modal particles or just particles, and they're really used to flavor, if you will, a sentence. They're used to modify, nudge a sentence's meaning in a certain direction or to add a certain emotion to it or a certain effect. I personally like to call them flavoring words simply because they modify a sentence very much in the sense that a pinch of salt or a spritz of lemon juice might add flavor to a dish. And that's kind of what they do, at least it seems that way to me. These are very common in the German language, and they are especially used in conversational German. In this video, I will discuss the particles mal and schon. Mal is actually short for einmal, which means once. It means that, but it adds so much more than just the word once. So it really comes alive in a sentence. The second one is schon, which means already, but just like mal, which means once, it really comes alive in a sentence and it adds a lot more than just already. It means a lot more than that. It massages sentences in a lot of different ways, a lot of different directions. The way that Germans use the particle mal is not just for once, as in once upon a time, although we do use that too, es war einmal, once upon a time. But mal, the shortened version, is really used to suggest that something is supposed to be done quickly, immediately, briefly, just this once. It often downplays the action that is being requested. It often downplays what is requested to be done as not a big deal, so don't fuss about it, just do it. It can be a little bit whiny if it's overused, which a lot of people do, unfortunately, but it also is used very effectively as a softening agent to play down requests. So rather than sounding too bossy, when I use mal, it softens it a little bit. I'm kind of nudging somebody instead of pushing somebody. Let's look at a couple of examples. So for instance, I could say, gib mir den Hammer, which means give me the hammer, pass me the hammer, right? I'm doing some home construction or I'm doing some repair work and I need a hammer. That just means give me the hammer. If I say gib mir mal den Hammer, it translates more as in, could you give me the hammer, or give me the hammer, won't you? The next example is darf ich mal. And that also has a verb implied, so usually from context, people understand what it is that you're asking for. Literally, that means, may I this once? May I right now? And it is used very commonly for all kinds of different situations. It's very, very context dependent. So for instance, if people are in the way and you're trying to find your way through a crowd, you could say, darf ich mal? In other words, may I pass? It also could be used for when, especially North Americans might say, pardon my reach. Here's another common one. Hast du mal Zeit? Do you have time? But not just do you have time, but in the immediate future and a little bit of time. You know, I'm being very shy about asking. I'm not saying I want all the time that you can give me, just a little bit of time right now. Hast du mal Zeit? Wir müssen mal einkaufen. We have to go shopping. We have to go grocery shopping, maybe, most likely. And not just any time, but we're running out of stuff. The word mal in wir müssen mal einkaufen suggests that this is something that needs to be done rather sooner than later, because maybe we're running out of milk, maybe we're running out of eggs, maybe we're running out of bread, and we just need to buy some groceries. As I said, mal is used very often with requests, even with commands. It kind of softens them a little bit. So for instance, I could say, mach das mal. That means as much as do it, but do it soon. Just get it done. The particle schon has a rather positive feel to it. It can mean already, and it always means kind of something is already in existence, something is the case right now, even though there may be doubt to its existence, which kind of is what already actually means, right? Something is in existence despite the fact that some people may not believe it or expect it. Schon is often used in statements that seek confirmation. So if I want other people to agree with me on something, or to confirm that something that I think is true in their minds as well, I might use the word schon. That's a very, very common usage of it. The meaning of it often depends on the stress of words within a sentence, and sometimes it can be translated as already. Sometimes it's best translated as an add-on in English, as in right. Don't you think? Isn't it? Let's look at this example. Du hast einen Hund. Very straightforward sentence. You have a dog. Or if you're British, you've got a dog. So if I add the word schon in it, I actually have at least two different meanings to that sentence, depending on which word I emphasize, how I say that sentence. So if I say, du hast schon einen Hund, that means you already have a dog. You don't need another dog. How many dogs do you want? You already have a dog. Aren't you happy with your dog? That sort of thing. If I say, du hast schon einen Hund, that means you have a dog, right? Don't you have a dog? You do have a dog. So they can possibly mean roughly the same thing, depending on the context, but they can also mean something very different. So it really depends on the context. It depends on which word I am emphasizing. The particle schon is also translatable as indeed, sure, especially as an answer. Ja schon. Yes, indeed. Oh, yes. Contrary to what you may think. Yes. If you combine mal and schon together into one sentence, you usually get a meaning that comes closest to the English expression of have you ever? Or done it, been there. I'm familiar with that. Yes, I've done that already. That sort of thing. So let's look at an example. Hast du schon mal Papaya gegessen? Have you ever eaten papaya? Have you had papaya before? Or how about this one here? Ich habe schon mal Papaya gegessen. I've had papaya before. As a statement, ich habe schon mal Papaya gegessen. It would mean I've already had papaya, or I've had papaya before. I'm familiar with it. I've had it at least once before, therefore I already know it. So here again is the already in it and the once in it as well. Danke fürs Zuschauen. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and please check out my other videos if you enjoy them. It would be fantastic if you could subscribe to my channel. Hopefully these are useful to you and helpful to you. And take care. Mach's gut. Bye. Tschüss. See you in the next video.